I have two wines for this week's episode, which will help you beat the dog days of summer. Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's episode. You know, it's been so hot and humid where I live, and I imagine where you are, it's also been very hot and humid. So I thought, you know what, let's pick two wines, which I think are perfect for these dog days of summer. Refreshing and great with food for eating outside, maybe foods that aren't too heavy and light. And these are the two wines I have for you. So let's go to New Zealand for our very first wine. And it's one I've shown before, and there's a new vintage. And I went to my local grocery store. Both of these are from my local grocery store, so that's another benefit. And this one is Oyster Bay. It's the Pinot Gris, which, as you remember, the same grape is that makes Pinot Grigio in the Italian wines. And it's a 2020, and it has a nice screw top on it. We'll taste it in just a second. But this is one of my just go-to great wines to have, not only when it's hot, it's good really all year long. But this has been really nice to have in the summer, and I think the last time I went to my local store, I bought all the wines they had. So hopefully they get into the shipment in. But 2020 was an interesting year in New Zealand because, of course, they were going through the pandemic just like we all were, and the New Zealand government actually had to give sort of a special permission that making wine was so important that it was essential. So luckily for us that the New Zealand winemakers were able to stay safe and help their workers, and they were able to pick the grapes, and it turned out to be a very nice year in New Zealand. So I remember, as much as I've enjoyed this before, this 2020 really struck me this time as being extra juicy, and I had it again last night, and I got little notes of pineapple on it. So it's just a gem. It goes with light food, seafood, salads, some chicken. I had it with a tuna dish, just some tuna and some plain white rice with a little ginger and wasabi. It's really nice. So look at that. How easy was that? So very affordable, say maybe the $10 to $15 it's usually on sale. And of course we feature their Sauvignon Blanc. So again, the Sauvignon Blanc is going to be extra on the grapefruit and heavy on the lemon zest, lemon flavors and grapefruit flavors, a little bit of grass note. This one, as I recall, a little bit more on the tropical fruit, and if you've ever had a kiwi, believe it or not, it does sort of have that aroma and taste of kiwi, and I said pineapple and some fresh white flowers. It just is so nice. I really would like you guys to try to find this Oyster Bay Pinot Gris from New Zealand, 2020. It was at my local Safeway, and I'm hoping it's where you are. And Total Wine also carries their this brand. Let's taste it. Oh, just delicious. Nice, well balanced, has some nice acidity. Again, when you've had fresh pineapple, for some reason I don't know if it's the vintage, which happened to be a pretty extra ripe year, but it reminds me of fresh pineapple. It has that, it's sweet, but it has that tartness and the acidity part. But what a gem. And it's just great with food, great for sipping out here. You can tell my glass is already fogging up because it's quite humid today. So let me finish this one and we'll move on to our next wine. Wow, $10 to $12. Just delicious. So the next one is quite unique. And it'll be my last rosé that I'll feature for this year and this summer. And it's just a beautiful bottle. As you know, one of the things I love about the rosé wines are these great bottles. Well, this one I also found at my local grocery store. So both wines, local grocery store. This one is it's called 11 Minutes. It's from the Familia Pasqua, and it's from the Veneto area. So outside Venice, near Verona. And like so many of the rosés I found this summer, it has a glass cork, which is not the easiest to open, but I was able to get it open. So these are kind of cool, glass corks. And you'll probably notice as you look at the label It says 11 minutes on it, and I'll explain what that is in just a second. And then this beautiful graphics. It's all written in Latin, and that's because this is the winery wanted to kind of capture something from the area where they're from, and a very famous Roman poet. I'll put his name in the description box, and he is famous for writing this poem, and they've put the poem in Latin all around the label. And if you are able to look through the little hole, you'll see the muse in here, Sappho. So he was a Roman poet, and he passed away in about the year 54 BC. So we're going, Roman, famous Roman poet. And so they named it after that. And I remember the first time I had this was maybe at the beginning of summer. And I went back to my Safeway, and my local wine distributor was there, and he recognized me, and he said, "Hi, wine guy." And because I featured one of his other wines from the grocery store, and he said, "Have you tried this one?" And I said, "Yes, it's delicious." So I bought the last one they had, but I know they'll get more in. So it's from Italy, as I said. It's a blend. It has a few different Italian grapes, Corvina, Trebbiano. It even has a little bit of Syrah and Carmenere in it. So a nice little blend, beautiful color, as most rosés are. So let's give it a try. So here it is, the 11 minutes from Familia Pasqua. So this one is just beautiful pale pink. And I imagine it's going to have, some of that red fruit, heavy on the fresh raspberry and strawberry notes, with some nice acidity, and of course, Italian wine. This could be great with food. So I just ordered from a local Greek restaurant because I thought, Greek food is going to be great with this wine. So we're having some grilled chicken, we're having pasticcio, we're having a spanakopita, which is that spinach in the phyllo, and some rice pilaf. Wow, it's going to be delicious. Yeah, it's beautiful. Heavy on maybe just a little hint of roses all of a sudden, and fresh raspberries. Let's go ahead and taste it. As expected, delicious. Light-bodied, nice acidity. Like I said, fresh red fruit flavor. I can't wait to have this with the chicken, the rice pilaf, the spanakopita. Any Mediterranean food would be great. I would also have this with plenty of pasta, some pasta with tuna. You could do just a nice marinara, fresh tomatoes, some basil. All of that would be just delicious. So what does this 11 minutes, which is what they call it, mean? Well, if you've seen from some of our other episodes, remember to make a rosé, it means the red grapes, which were all red grapes, were crushed, and a little bit of the juice touched those red skins and just gave it this nice little color. So guess what? 11 minutes meant 11 minutes where the juice and the skin of the grapes were in contact with one another, and then the skins were taken away, and this is what you're left with. Wow, how beautiful is that? So for this week's episode, we saw two great, refreshing wines for the dog days of summer. Great, light, refreshing. Have on your deck, have on your patio, have in the backyard. Most people, I think, are going to like these. We have the Pinot Gris from New Zealand. We have this 11 minutes Rosato from Verona, Italy. And again, just salads and fresh seafood and whatever you want to have. As long as it's pretty light, I think you're going to be in good shape. Wow, how beautiful is that? Well, there we go. Two wines to beat the summer heat. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode, and thank you again for sharing our channel with your friends and family and coworkers. And I hope you're staying cool during these hot days of summer, and I can't wait to share more of the world of wine with you in the next episode. Stay tuned, everyone.